day has gotten really musky and there was a lot of storms, and you're already seeing the aftermath. Shut up. So, where have I been? I told you guys that I was gonna wait for the news about the
K8 and
I don't think there's a cop. But anyways, I told you all that I was about to wait for the news, the reveal of the C8, and it has been revealed officially, and every rumor, speculation, spy shots have confirmed exactly what it was shown. It is a mid-engine, and it comes out with a new dual clutch transmission from Tremec. It's a Tremec dual, and they changed the whole interior of the vehicle, so you don't have the gear shifter anymore, the automatic shifter, so it's run by an electronic shifter that is kind of intuitive. And they said about the transmission is going to feel like you're driving an actual manual, but you can't really change the fact that it's still an automatic on it, and it still will have the performance numbers. And they said that the performance numbers is going to be under 3 seconds, so that's on an automatic. So that's the case of the C8. What are my thoughts on that? I'm just going to be quite honest. If I was watching the reveal video and hearing them go over the stats and tech and all that, and I was kind of waiting for them to say that they're gonna have automatic and a manual option.
K-band.
Unfortunately, they never said anything about the manual transmission. Before anyone starts getting on my case, and I was like, hey, Nizzle, why are you even talking about manuals when you don't drive one? Yes, I don't drive one at the moment. I am planning on getting a manual vehicle in the future. Right now, it's not the time to get a manual vehicle when you have things going on in your life. So, I will save that dream of getting a manual vehicle probably later down in the future in the pipeline when everything is all settled with. I will get a manual, but if I were to get a Corvette, I would really go for a manual. We don't know if the Z06 is going to have it or the ZR1 is going to have one. But if you're thinking about getting a manual, it's not going to happen. Now I want to talk to you also about the new engine that came out. It is derived from an LT1 engine, and it produces 495 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. It's an LT2 engine, 6.2 liter, and what the engineer was saying that even though most of the companies are going twin turbos, they are going to remain true to its natural aspirated engine. It is still the same small block engine, so which is not bad. What about the future vehicles? We are not sure. That's just a fact. I know that the Blackwing engine, that is an LT8 engine, has a twin turbo engine. Their turbos is based from Mitsubishi. That produces 550 horsepower for the CT6-V. So we don't know about the Z06, so we're gonna have to wait about that, but time will tell. Also, I want to also talk about some other news that they came out with the new CT5-V. I just said we. CT5-V and CT4-V. First of all, what in the world was that? I wouldn't really call that a V, to be quite honest, but I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to pull an AMG. Because Mercedes, they want to put AMG on anything, like the C43 AMG, or the E43 AMG, or CLS 43 AMG, or the GLC, or the GLE 43 AMG. Seriously, guys, don't. I would have seriously thought you guys were going to keep the V Sport, but instead, they chose to go to put the V brand while putting a small horsepower engine in a V6. But if that's the direction they want to go, I mean, power to them. Yeah, but I could expect them to do a little bit better. I think they should have said V Sport. I mean, that would have made perfect sense. I like the CT6-V Sport, CTS-V Sport, sorry. CTS-V Sport. That actually made sense because when it's a V Sport, it had a V6 engine, 420 horsepower, not bad. It's a Sport. Hey, not bad. It's like the second Terrier before you get up to the V Series. I mean, it trains you. But they just decided to call it a V and trying to pull a German brand move. That's all I gotta say. They're pulling a German brand move. They did the same thing with... They're just copying. They need to stay in their own lane, honest to goodness. But so the CT4-V is gonna come with a 4-liter. It's low horsepower. The other one is a CT5-V. That is the V6, twin turbo V6, 355 horsepower. I'll put the annotation on there. But honest to goodness, that's the direction they chose. But however, later on they said that they are coming out with a Blackwing edition. It will produce a much horsepower. They're also rumored to have a supercharged engine. If they're gonna have if they're coming out of CT5-V, they better have the Z06 engine, the same thing, because throughout history of the V series, from the CTS V1, V2, and V3, it always had a Z06 engine. If they are departing from, for the CT5-V, for the Blackwing edition, and departing from the Z06 engine, then I don't know what their call is. That's what it is. So I'm just gonna leave it right there. I thought it was nice to have a 4-door Z06. It actually kind of blends in well. People will say, okay, I can't have a Z06. Hey, you have an option of a 4-door Z06. That is the Cadillac CTS-V, which I am pleased about, because you don't lose the powertrain of a Z06. You just have 4 doors extended to it, and you have the extra fancy gear with it. So otherwise, you want to go back to a 2-door but have extra seats, you have the Camaro ZL1. So that's an option. So it actually kind of makes sense on that way. It's kind of different, but who knows? We'll just leave it right there, and that's how we're just gonna leave that talk. So that's my little thing about GM performance and little talk about it. The Escalade. Okay. Rumor, I don't want to talk about rumors on it, but the Escalade is coming out around 2021. It's gonna have the engine that is upgraded. It'll be known as the L87, which is still gonna have a 420 horsepower, but they said there's gonna go to the 450. It's assumed, but nothing's set in stone. But they're gonna do a complete refresh of it. But they did come out with spy photos. I'm not gonna post any pictures of spy photos of what the interior looks like, but from the looks of it, they got rid of this column shifter. The column shifter is gone and going with the Cadillac's floor shifter. So that's what's going on with Cadillac. So everything, this column shifter, I know everyone has their little pet peeve about the column shifter. I like the column shifter. I'm gonna explain why I like the column shifter. Look at how much space is right here. This is good. This is a lot of good space. When you put a floor shifter, what's gonna happen is it's not gonna have that much ergonomic space. You're gonna have small little cup holders. All these things is gonna be far away, and it's just gonna create a lot of like space filled over here. I'm not sure what everyone else thinks, but when you put a floor shifter, it's gonna create extra clogging over here, ergonomics thing. That's why I like the column shifter. I wish they came out with an E-column shifter like you've seen on the Mercedes brands, because the E-column shifters is simple. You could just put it, belongs where it's supposed to be, on the steering wheel, so you could control up and down, left and right. I wish there was a way they could use something similar like this cool column shifter, like you have the button and all this, like move it up for park and then pull it down, or something or other like that. But that's my thing. I like this column shifter. It makes perfect sense. If you want to see an example of a floor shifter, just take a look at the Hummer. That's a prime example of what a floor shifter would look like on a same engine like this, without the column shifter. And you would see how much space has been taken up from a single floor shifter. So that's the thing about, I like the technology about where they put on the electronic shifter and all that is easy, intuitive, and people, but then again, you have to think about other people's perspective. They just buying a vehicle to go back and forth, and they don't give a damn about all their gadgets and all that. They're just looking for a point A, point B vehicle that looks nice and all that stuff. I mean, but then again, sales numbers go great. But when you look at it in a customer's perspective and look at it in real life perspectives, there's people who have been buying the vehicle, showing off, and they don't keep it for long haul. This is the 13 Escalade ESV. This car was brand new when we got it in 2013, and now 6 years later I still have it. It's still great, it's still stable. And how many miles? It's getting 15.3 miles to the gallon. That's how much gas is used. Trans V8. This is a cylinder deactivation. You can tell which one is in V4 and V6. V8, my bad. 93,336 miles. Hey, it's not bad. But the vehicle is great. It still runs well, still drives awesome. And we're just gonna leave it right there. So, leave a comment down below. What do you guys think about the C8, the CT5-V, the CT4-V, and what are your thoughts on the spy photos that are up on the about the Cadillac Escalade? So, I gave my thoughts on it. So, I just want to hear, like, what do you guys think? What's going on? Oh, I forgot to mention about that LT2 engine. Let me talk about that a little bit more, because that's an interesting engine with 495 horsepower, and it's the price range is $60,000 for the new Corvette, which is not bad. Unfortunately, they changed the dry sump lubrication tank to the front, and I was looking at the images of it. I was like, how is people gonna? I've always enjoyed watching YouTube videos of people modifying their Corvettes and all that, putting camshafts. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I loved the small block cammed. When you cam a LS small block engine, I love that chopping sound. It just sounds so great. So, but when I saw that, I was like, how's that gonna happen? That's kind of questionable, and that's what I'm just that's a real, I hope somebody figures out how to do that. I'm really interested how people are gonna fix that LT2 engine. I mean, they should really do something with that engine. I wonder how it sounds when it's cammed. But then also at the same time, they were talking about they put the ECU on a lock and key, so you can't do anything about the engine. It's called an ECM according to GM. The ECU has been put on lock and key, so that way people like tuner vehicles or anyone that's planning on modifying their vehicles, like to do it for racing, like if you're going to do the Texas half mile, Texas mile, or any kind of competition, you're trying to test out your vehicle to see what you modify your project Corvette or something like that, it's not going to be possible anymore. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible unless somebody's smart enough to do it. But that's the thing I love about LS small block engines, or even Corvettes. You could do things with those small block engines. You could do project vehicles and then get involved in competitions and then test them out and then educate people about what you do, and then when they own one in the future, then they'll know, hey, I could learn from that person, I could do that. And like, if I own a vehicle, then I could do it. I could do something similar and I could put a taste on it. But I don't think that's going to be possible. I don't know whether modding a LS small block engine is ever going to be possible. So it's kind of sad, though. It's really sad what has become. So, yeah. I'll see you guys later, and I'm going to be posting a couple videos. I'm probably posting about this engine, this 6.2 liter L92 engine compared to the Hummer. I'm finding a time to do it because I had so much things doing this summer. So, see ya.